Tim Keenan.
I'm Holly Keenan.
We're married, and we're the developers behind a virus named Tom. The development studio is called Misfits Attic, and it's us plus a bunch of contractors that we convinced to work for really cheap.
And we're here at PAX Prime.
Yes, we're here at PAX Prime in Seattle for the first time. This is our first PAX, showing off our game in the indie mega booth with all the other indies. Whoa! I'd love to scream right now, but my voice is gone.
Yeah.
It took 4.5 years to make a virus named Tom. I took a year and a half full-time, and all the time before that was part-time. And then Holly kept working part-time on it. She still works a full job, raises our child, and takes care of everything.
I did the in-game art. We had a good friend of ours do the illustration for and we hired somebody to do the animation.
Yeah.
So anything graphic or UI, I did. We had a couple contractors that helped out, but yeah, the majority of it was myself.
Yeah, and then some of the other artwork was done by my friend Travis, who I worked with at DreamWorks Animation before I quit. I'd worked on so many projects that didn't finish that I was sick of it, and I told her, I'm like, I'm just gonna make a simple little game. Of course, it's only gonna take about 3 months, and then it will be done, and we'll put the game out, and then we'll make another game. And 4.5 years later, a virus named Tom, because I love games, I love game design, and apparently I love feature creep. And we couldn't put out a game that we weren't super proud of. So we just kept working on it, and then
finally finished it.
Yeah. We developed it in XNA on Microsoft's engine. Thank you, Microsoft. And we actually really like that. But now we're going to try to port it to Mac and Linux. So maybe we'll use Mono Game for that. But yeah, we really felt XNA was a great engine to use. So the gameplay behind the battle mode is like Kicks mixed with Bomberman. And so I love that. And the main game is kind of like Pipe Dream mixed with Pac-Man, maybe. It's not quite there, but a lot of old school games that were my influence when I was younger melted into this game.
Originally, we had kind of scoped the thing as a much larger city, but we realized that it was just going to be really difficult to develop that with the team that we have. So because it's a 2D game, and we know we had to be super modular with the pieces, and a lot of it was really dictated by the gameplay. And then when we found the story, Retro Future, it's like, all right, well, I guess that makes a lot of sense for it to feel kind of like a Jetsons vibe, you know.
Basically, what happened was that we came up with the aesthetic of the game, and we knew we wanted to infect things, but infecting a cell phone or infecting Facebook wasn't as fun. And things from the Jetsons future are really fun, right? To infect a robot dog or a moving sidewalk, really bad things happen. And we wanted to be in there on those bad things because we're bad people. So that ended up happening, and that gave us the Jetsons like retro 60s aesthetic, and then it all kind of came together. And it seems like a nice whole now. We're talking again to some of the publishers we talked to before about console. The only thing holding us back from console was just it's expensive for QA and all that stuff, and it's a tougher road for an indie. But it might be a little bit easier now that the game is getting a really good reception. But that's hard to say. Everybody wants us to put it on a tablet too, but maybe the gameplay will work, maybe it won't. So we're thinking about kickstarting maybe to get the networking in because we have so much co-op and everybody wants it, but it's expensive for an indie, and we had a baby and stuff like that. So we'll see, I guess. Hopefully we'll know in a month or two.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, by the end of the year, we'll definitely know.
Yes. You know what? Valve has been pretty amazing. I mean, you ask for keys, they give you keys. Like, I don't think we could have done pre-orders. I don't think we could have done a lot of things if we had gone a more traditional route, just because there are a whole lot of limitations that are put on you, but Steam didn't give us much of any of them. I mean, there were a few things we had to fight for because we're indies and we're smaller, so obviously we didn't get the attention a AAA studio would get, but for the most part, they're just so incredibly indie-friendly. We originally started with XBLA, and we talked to some publishers, and I think some indie friends of ours were like PC, and then also like dealing with a lot of the contracts and a lot of that stuff with XBLA was tough. So we decided maybe we'd go PC first, and that would be an easier transition for us, being so small. And then basically, Xbox Live Indie Games is really cool, but we decided to hold off on that. I guess we knew that the sales on Xbox Live Indie Games weren't as good as we could get elsewhere, and even though we love the service, it's really hard because we need to make enough money to support the family, especially when it takes me this long to make a game.
Yeah.
If we don't end up on XBLA or on console because we decide to not go that route, I would have no problem putting it on Xbox Live Indie Games because I have a lot of friends with games on there and I love them. And I think it's a great idea. It's just, there's some bumps along the way. We did a lot of play testing. A lot of it was informal. But what happened was all the indies, all the Bay Area indies came over. IGN let us in the IGN Indie Open House with GameSpy, and we were there with David Rosen and Alex Austin and Justin Woodward, and those guys and all the other Bay Area indies would come over and they would play the hell out of all the co-op levels, and they would suck if it wasn't for those guys, because there's no way with our small team, we don't have an office, we don't have 4 people to pick up controllers and play the game. And we needed to see that, because you need to see people playing your game in order to know if it's working or not. And all those indies helped us so much. And being part of that hippy-dippy indie atmosphere was amazing.
IndieGameReviewer.com